This is class right here, pure class. If you don't know, now you know. This is how I start every single video. Also, because guys, we have the double-breasted suit. Don't ask why I have a double-breasted suit. It's a Sunday. I went to church, I was with the family. But guys, the moral of this video, the center focus is how I built a high-performing sales team and went from $100,000 a month that the offer was performing to over $600 or nearly $600,000 months time span. In this video, I will cover the 3 major key lessons and inputs and levers that I have pulled and my agency has pulled that has gotten us these kind of results. Now guys, I will let you guys know full transparency that a lot of work went in between these levers that were pulled. It's not gonna come easy. It's not gonna take a week, a month to implement. It's gonna take a longer time because guys, keep in mind one very important thing is when you're managing people, these guys are not robots, right? If you're watching this, you have an agency, you have an offer, a consulting offer, and your sales are struggling. You clicked on this video to hopefully get some insight on how to properly structure improvement on your offer. That's fine, I respect that, so pay attention because I'm gonna go through stuff that has been validated on the market time and time again, and I'm telling you will work, right? So the number one thing is understanding what their why is. Now, I'll tell you guys why this is so important. Understanding someone's why, whether they're a DM setter, a dialer, a closer, it doesn't matter what it is. Understanding someone's why is crucial because if you operate a business out of a expectation or a standpoint of me, what am I gonna get as a CEO? What am I gonna get as a business owner? And you neglect what your employees, what your sales reps are going to get in the business is the moment they no longer feel they're part of the vision, right? So I'll give you an example. The moment I onboarded this client within my agency, Growth Capital, which by the way, if you're looking to actively scale your agency, or your offer or whatever it might be, but you're in the info space and you're struggling, hit me in the link down below. We'll have a chat. I run an agency called growthcapital.io where we specialize in scaling while I actively manage your offer to multiple hundreds of thousands per month. So if you're stuck, then click a link down in the description. I'll be able to audit your entire system. Back what I was saying. When I hopped on this offer, the biggest thing I asked the team one by one is what is your why within the business? Why are you working in this business? What's your goal? And I have to understand what someone's why is because every single time I'm going to speak with that person, I will remind them what they told me about their why. Not just that, but at the same time, if you can unify everyone's whys all together and portray where the company will go, say for example, I have 10 sales reps and I have all of their whys, their goals, their dreams, their aspirations, I can unify that and say once the company has hit this target in a single month back to back, your why will be attained, your why will be accomplished. And what you're doing is you're unifying their goals and your goal, which is something that business owners always tend to forget. If you keep talking about you, what you're gonna get, what you're gonna do, that is where most people go wrong. So you have to unify why people are doing it and working in the business, right? So I sat every single sales rep down, I spoke to them from a DM setter to a setter to a closer, and I understood fundamentally why they're in the space, why they're working, what's their goal out of it, what's their long-term goal, and I had to future pace them and I had to make them realize that I'm not after the money, I'm after helping them achieve their goal. And of course, the byproduct of them achieving their goal is in between you and I guys, them hitting the KPIs 100%, which comes up to my next topic, which I'll come to very soon. But my point being is when the core focus of you speaking with them is that you want them to achieve their why, do you not see directly how much more work they're willing to put in? Because there's one thing saying, oh yeah, come on Kevin, let's get the 5K a month, this month we need it as a DM setter. But it's a whole other thing if I tell you, listen Kevin, you spoke to me last week and you mentioned how much you want to take care of your mom and get out of that job. Let's aim that 5K a month because I'm telling you with full transparency, you will be able to take care of your mom and get her out of her job, or you will be able to buy her this or to buy her that because that is the why. Do you understand that fundamentally when I have someone's personal goals that they want to achieve, it becomes more linear when we're growing all together because then I get what I want, they get what they want, but the way you portray it are two very different things. So guys, remember, getting someone's why is extremely important. I like to split it up in their physical, right? What's their physical why? How do they want to look physically? Guys, this is very important. I've always worked with the top sales reps and they're always in the best shape. So speak about someone's physicality. Do you want to be in good shape? If so, what kind of shape do you want to be in the next 3 months? 90 days, 120 days, 180 days. People don't think about this, but it's so huge. So getting their physical goal is extremely important. Getting their financial goal is extremely important. How much that they want to make every single month. This is very, very important that we have to get out of them. And most importantly, what's their professional goal? I'm outlining this just so you guys can understand how to conduct it when you guys have your own calls, which after this video, you have to have these calls. You have to have these meetings with your sales reps and go through exactly this entire list I'm going through. So your physical, which is going to be how they want to look, how they want to present themselves. You want their financial, which is how much they want to make per month. And you want the professional, which is what they want to do with the money, because no one wants money just sitting in the bank. Kevin, what does an extra 10K a month do for you? Like genuinely, money aside, what does that actually do for you and those around you? Get them to voice out loud goals that they might not even thought they actually had, but deep down, because they've audited themselves, they now have. Make them tell you what it is and watch how that bond starts to form. You start to become chained to your goal, if that makes sense, right? That's what you have to start doing, right? And this is the first trait. This is the first step you have to take in the business. The first step. The second step you have to do is data, which is so important. Data will tell you everything in business. You have to make sure, and this is exactly what I did with the team that I onboarded. They were making about 100K, but guys, they had no data. There was no organization. All the numbers were all over the place. And I cannot scale a company sustainably, consistently, conservatively, if I do not know the numbers every single day, day in and day out, every single week, day, month, year. I cannot scale it. It will break. So how do you instill data? Very simple. You connect what their financial and professional goals are, and you tie it into data, and you make sure that the data is being tracked. So some simple levers that I pulled on this team that got them to such a high performing caliber is number one, obviously EOD reports, which will go into exactly what in the EOD reports. Number two is I did post-book call recaps, explaining to us exactly what the outcome of the call was. What was the objections? What did you struggle with as a sales rep? Where's the Fathom link recording for us to review as a team? This is very, very important for organization. And last but not least, when I have all the data of EOD reports, post-book call recaps, we have also tracker sheets that track all of their numbers that gets inputted from the EODs and the post-book call recaps. So if I have someone's goals, if I have someone's why, physically, financially, professionally, and I then start to track data, EOD reports, post-book call recaps, tracker sheets, you know what happens? It's called accountability. Because now I know exactly what a sales professional's show rate is. I know their offer rate, which is how much they actually propose to book a call. I know their close rate. Let's say I can even go one layer deeper, right? I know their outbounds, I know their inbounds, I know their calls proposed, I know everything. So I know how hard they're working. I know what their numbers are, what their stats are, right? That's if they're a setter. If they're a closer, I'm gonna ask for their show-up rate, their offer rate. Out of how many people showed up, how many people did you actually pitch to? So I know if we have a pitching problem because either they're unqualified or we aren't building enough desire to create the pitch. Very important, right? What's their pitch rate? What's their qualification rate? How many people are actually qualified that wanted to close? What's their closing rate? What are the most common objections that they have? Guys, this is all stuff that you need to know with your team at all times. So you know exactly what the bottleneck is. If I have one closer that struggles with an offer percentage, and then I have another closer struggling with a closing percentage, I know what the different problems are. So by getting their why and then by getting the data, I was then able to slowly get a better understanding of what everyone's weak points and strengths are. Because guys, in a team, in a sales team, you're gonna have people good at one thing, good at someone else. I might have someone that's amazing at closing, but someone that really sucks at building up desire for, let's say, the pitch. I might have someone great at booking calls, but someone that sucks with having qualified sets on the board. We all have those DM setters. They set 5 people a single day, but one of them actually have the money. Data is what will give you these kind of information. And in the tracker sheets is where you portray the information that data is going to give you in a very professional manner, like what I'm going to point over here on the screen. That's going to showcase the entire dashboard that I have, right? So that's one example of a tracker sheet. Another example of a tracker sheet down over here that I'm pointing at, that my editor is going to put through, is going to be another form of a tracker sheet that I make my sales reps, that I make my team do day in and day out. By getting the data, this is where something very critical happens. And this is where the third important thing comes into play, which is accountability. I would say accountability and work ethic come hand in hand. And I'll tell you why. Once I have everyone's numbers, let's say for example, I have a setter, his name is Max. Max tells me he wants to make 5K a month. That's his financial goal. And his professional goal is because he wants to take care of his family and fly his mom out from Cuba. I'm just giving you an example, right? And his name is Max. Okay, cool. I have his exact goal. I also have his numbers. I know that his average cash collected per deal is $2,500. His average commission rate is 5% of that, right? I know at the same time what his outbound is, his average outbounds. I know what his average calls proposed are, what his drop-off rate is, which is basically calls proposed and then calls actually booked. The drop-off rate will be how many people drop off till they book the call. I know what his show rate is, I know what his qualification is, and his closing rate is. And just by reverse engineering the numbers, what happens is if I look and I reverse engineer and I see, okay, Max, he, for example, for every third person that he sets, one of them closes. I know that if he sets 10 people, at least 3, let's say 3 or 4 will close. So that is how I kind of do my math. And from there, I'm able to also know what his commission is, right? If I know his average commission is, let's say 150 per deal, I know that every 3 closes will give him on average about $450. So I know that if Max does 10 sets based off data, he'll get most likely $450 banked up in his account, right, off the closed deals. Guys, obviously it's gonna vary, but this is called projecting. That's what you need in your business, within your team, based off data, based off numbers, based off of what he said from the start. Do you guys see where I'm going with this? So if Max knows that his goal is to make 5K, he has to just see how many people he has to set up on the calendar for them to show up and then close, for him to get 5K. On top of that, we know that for him to land 3 sets in a day, he has to do 200 outbounds, because 200 outbounds will average him about 3 sets. He now knows what his daily quota is. And guys, notice that you guys watching this video right now, I know you guys are just telling your setters, okay, KPIs are 150. Okay guys, KPIs are 100 sets. Outbounds. Okay guys, KPIs are 300 outbounds, with no intent behind them. That is why your sales team is underperforming. That is why you're on this video right now. That is why you're watching 15 minutes into this video, because your sales team is underperforming because of unrealistic KPIs that do not link what their goals are. But imagine if you're a DM setter and you told me all of your goals and you have all the numbers here, and then I tell you, just based off of numbers and stats, for you to take care of your mom and fly her to Cuba or to Mexico and to make 5K a month, you have to make, on average, based on your numbers, 5 sets per day or 3 sets per day, which will take you, based off stats, 300 outbounds or 250 outbounds. You know you're going to do the work because it's right in front of you. And you're not asking yourself, why is this person telling me 250 outbounds? I have no idea where the number is coming from. No, you know exactly where the number is coming from. You know exactly what's behind that and what your goal is. That is the beauty in scaling a sales team. And for the love of God, guys, if you're listening to me, trust me on this. I made my team over $600,000 in a single month for one of my clients just by doing this, by knowing what their why is, by instilling specific data and key metrics, and most importantly, instilling accountability and daily quotas specific and customizable to that sales rep's goal. So if someone tells me their goal is 15K as a closer, I know exactly how many calls they have to outbound to themselves, how many calls they have to pitch every single day, and how many they have to close just based off of numbers. That is the beauty of business. You're no longer guessing. You're waking up and you know what you're telling your sales reps. Because if you're watching this video, you have those questions. What should I tell this person? Why did he even say 100 outbounds? Do you guys even know why your KPIs are your KPIs? Can you actually take a second and think, why did I tell my DM setter last month to do 150 outbounds per day? You don't even know why. You're just following the flow, and that's your problem. So do this, implement this in your business, and it's going to change. Because what happens is now that Max, my setter, knows that he has to do 3 sets per day to ensure his chance of making 3, 4, 5K a month and taking care of his family, what happens is not only accountability, which comes into play, which by the way, guys, is a huge one, but on top of that, you know what it is? It's the work ethic. And this is something that I have to talk about as well. The work ethic is so important in a business because you're only as strong as your weakest link. And if you have 10 high achievers and you have one that's just there at the bottom, what's gonna happen is subconsciously, it's going to start to infiltrate the team. It's gonna infiltrate the energy, and it's gonna get contagious. And you have to have a work ethic that's set in stone of do's and don'ts in a business. You have to have non-negotiables. You have to have SOPs, standard operating procedures that will come into play. So I'll argue one thing that we have to implement is SOPs, 1000%. Standard operating procedures. Every single sales rep needs to know the moment a situation happens, what they have to do. If client says X, Y happens. If this happens to the client or to the call, Y has to happen. If this data is submitted, Y has to happen. These are called SOPs, right? They could be whether in behavioral SOPs or in metric SOPs, meaning, for example, breaking down the specific offer, breaking down a specific situation, whatever it might be. There's different kind of SOPs put in place for different parts of your business, right? But the second thing that you want is you want to cultivate a very competitive environment, right? Competition, friendly competition is what I've noticed does the best thing, that has the best effect on business. Friendly competition, whether it's bonuses, incentives, whatever it might be. If you can nail to the T someone's goals and link it with their data and what their daily accountability and their daily numbers should be by putting competition and friendly competition in your business, what's going to happen is you're going to curate a very high level of overachievers, people that just enjoy working more than usual. If your setter knows he has to do at least 3 DM sets to solidify his chance at making 5K a month or 4K a month, but the competitiveness is there in the team and he does 5 sets instead, you as a business owner are winning every single time. Especially when you do bonuses, like say for example, which is the third thing I want to talk about. Competition is good, but bonuses, right? You can have sliding commissions, meaning when a sales rep has achieved X amount of cash collected, their commission rate goes up by 1% or by whatever increment you want. Or when they've achieved this much cash collected, this bonus gets given out. Or the top sales rep gets this given bonus. These are all different ways to increase your cash collected and increase the competitiveness and the drive within your team. Guys, the beauty in all of this is that if you execute it the way I told you to, it won't even come across as a dictatorship or as you telling someone something. It's gonna come across as so genuine, you guys have no idea. So try this, do this, and I'm telling you, it will change the game. This is how I grew a sales team from 100,000 a month underachieving to over 600,000 a month, with people getting flown out to Costa Rica, someone getting a Rolex from the offer owner as a bonus, 10K bonus, setters telling me, Jerry, it doesn't matter what your goal or what you do, we want to stick with you long term, as long as you're in the info space. That is the beauty of doing this. That is the beauty of applying everything, understanding the why physically, financially, professionally of your sales team, understanding the data and what you have to track, which by the way, I have another video which you can check in the link down the description as well. If ever you don't want to book a call yet and you want to see what else I'm talking about, I have a tracking system video that I made my clients over $4 million in the past 12 months. I'll link it in the description as well. Go and check it out. Very, very insightful stuff, right? So understanding the data that you have, that your team has to follow, and most importantly, how to integrate all of this into proper accountability and proper work ethic through standard operating procedures, a competitive environment, and bonuses that will indirectly and directly incentivize your team to perform at the highest capability. Guys, if this made sense, First of all, thank you for watching the entire video. I know this is going to directly and without a doubt help you in business. If you're an offer owner, agency owner, and you want to scale, you're stuck, you're looking at your numbers every single month and you're wondering where you're going wrong, book a call down below, save yourself the time. Let me audit your system for free. I want to come across as being given the most value in this space. I'm a genuine guy. My last name means everything to me. Never messed or fucked over someone in my entire life, and I never will, because that is what I stand for in business, and I never will, never have, and I'm never going to in the future. So book a call down below. I will take time out of my day. I'll audit your business. I'll tell you where you're going right, where you could be going better, and from there, if you want to work together, we'll see if you have a good fit within my agency. With that being said, guys, happy Sunday. God bless you guys all, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.